Your car feels normal until you learn it's built on fights, laws, and a lot of crash dummies. I'm Morgan, and this is Recall Roadmap, and I want to show you how rules shaped the ride in your driveway. Real quick, if messy but useful car talk is your thing, that's what we do here, so yeah, subscribe if you want in. Here's the wild part. A simple belt across your chest can cut your fatal risk by almost one half in a car, and even more in an SUV. That one strip of fabric has saved hundreds of thousands of lives over the years. Then you get the air clean stuff. Back in the 1970s, the law said, hey, chop tailpipe gunk by about 9/10, and boom, catalytic converters showed up and cities could breathe again. And tests changed design too. Starting in the late 1970s, cars hit a barrier at 35 miles an hour under bright lights, and the scores went on window stickers. It's like teachers posting grades on the classroom door. Makers couldn't hide. I used to think cars got safer because companies felt nice, but, the truth is more push than cuddle. Regulation plus public pressure made crumple zones, airbags, and better belts normal. So the big question is, which rule do you think quietly saved the most people in your family's story? Keep that in your head, because once we walk the decades, you might change your answer like I did. Let's roll the tape from the 50s through the 80s. In 1959, Volvo put three-point belts in the car and, wild move, opened the patent so everyone could copy. By 1968 in the US, new cars had to include front lap and shoulder belts, but folks didn't always wear them. Then the culture shifted. In 1978, the government started public crash tests at 35 miles an hour, and shoppers could finally compare safety like MPG. In 1984, New York passed the first belt use law, and more states followed. Belts went from nah to click it, and over time they saved around 457,000 lives. There were stumbles too. For a bit in the 70s, cars tried seatbelt interlocks that stopped the engine if you didn't buckle. People hated them. They broke, and the rule got tossed. Classic case of cost and pain without real trust built in. Meanwhile, air got cleaner fast. The 1970 Clean Air Act demanded about a 90% cut in nasty tailpipe stuff by the mid-70s, so catalytic converters and unleaded gas arrived in 1975. Think of cats as tiny chemical kitchens under the car, turning bad fumes into less bad leftovers. I still remember smelling older carb cars as a kid and thinking, is that normal? Because it burned the nose. If you had to pick just one of those changes from this era to keep today, which would it be? Next up, the 90s through today, where computers quietly took the wheel without asking. The 90s felt like the school principal walked into the engine bay. In 1996, every new US car had to speak one language called OBD2, so a little scanner could tell you why the light came on. It kept emissions gear honest for the full life of the car. By 1998, dual front airbags were basically everywhere, and crash ratings pushed designs harder. Then the quiet hero showed up. Electronic stability control. By 2012, it was required, and the safety folks said it could prevent thousands of rollover deaths every year. That's not a small tweak. That's a seatbelt level shift for loss of control crashes. 2011 even hit a modern low in road deaths after decades of layering belts, bags, and brains into cars. Cameras popped up by 2018 to stop those awful backover moments. And in the 2010s, we got lane keep nudges and automatic braking on a lot of new models. Here's my messy confession. I love the tech when it taps my steering in the rain, but I get tense when people treat assists like a robot chauffeur because it isn't. A system can help, but it still needs you. The first time ESC pulsed the brakes on a sleet curve, I felt it saved me before I even knew I was in trouble, and I still talk to the car like it's a teammate. So, how much help from the car would you actually want before it starts to feel bossy? Stick with me, because now I'm going to tell you what I think truly mattered most, even if it surprises both of us. Okay, cards on the table. If I rank pure life-saving for normal families, I still put seatbelts at number 1. They cut fatal risk by almost one half in a car, and when people actually wore them, the number shifted across the whole map. Crash tests deserve a close second because they forced better bones in every model year. For clean air, the 70s wins, hands down. That 90% cut target sounds impossible until you breathe the before and after. For control, the 2010s punch above their weight with stability control standard and cameras mandatory. While the newer assist features are promising but need, responsible hands. And costs? Yeah, some things missed. Those old belt interlocks were a headache, and some early gadgets felt like paying for stress. But most of the big mandates paid back in lives and lungs. If this sounds like the kind of clear, calm car talk you want more of, that's our lane here on Recall Roadmap with Morgan. So hit subscribe and come back next week. Tell me in the comments which decade made the biggest difference for your family and why. Thank you for watching, truly. If you're curious now, cue up our episode on how crash tests got tougher and why some cars that aced the old test flunked the new one. So, when you look at your keys tonight, which rule from which decade are you most grateful for?